check, mic check. And we are live. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Doce, where we're here to talk about, the hard topics, the topics that may cause discomfort, or topics that are fun to talk about, or other stuff. I hope you guys have been enjoying the streams, the lives that we've been having, and I hope you enjoy the topics that we're going to be bringing today. As you can see by the title, it is Halloween. My name is Carlos Pentecost, and here is my brother Daniel Pentecost.
Hey, how are you guys? This is Daniel. I'm excited for this topic. My brother came up with it just because it's part of the trend right now. So let's go down and dirty. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, what better topic to talk about than the day of that topic, right?
Ooh, I'm scared.
Feeling a little spooky today. So let's make it a little bit spooky and freaky and get down to the roots of what we are exactly talking about, and that's Halloween, or a lot of people know it as Hallows Eve, right? So I guess the question is, where can we trace back Halloween? Where can we trace back where its origins are? And what are we even talking about it? So, my brother mentioned at the beginning, is because that is the topic for today, because it is trending, because it is Halloween. And as Christians and as part of Doce, where do we stand in those specific topics and in those celebrations?
Yeah, think about it. We're trying to impact the community. We are trying to see how that affects our next generation, how it's impacting marriages, our children, and the people that are surround us. So let's get down to history. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, and then just a reminder, our goal is not to attack or bash specific individuals. It's more to enlighten and to bring light. I would say I understand why there's a lot of confusion, especially looking into the history, which we'll get into, of Halloween, why there's a lot of confusion, and why you have a group of people that say Christians should celebrate Halloween, and then you have a group that say you shouldn't. But then aside from the Christianity belief, you have individuals that are not Christian don't participate in it, because they're like, well, that's not something that's from our traditions or from our history or where it comes from. They simply just do not want to get involved in those celebrations that they are not aware of where the roots come from. So,
and if you're stuck in the middle, are you that person that monkey see, monkey do? You just go with the flow. You just like whatever. It doesn't really create an impact, or you think it doesn't create an impact. I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah. So to get to the root of it, Halloween, actually, we have to go down further than what the term, the term Halloween or Hallows Eve comes from, because then we'll understand actually the traditions of where the idea of dressing up, the idea of jack-lanterns, the idea of all these things, even knocking at doors and asking for pastries back in the day. In this case, it would be candies, like where it comes from. And it can be traced back all the way to Celtic pagans back in the Iron Age. The Iron Age is 2,000 years ago, or pretty much it's like first century or even a little bit further back. Okay, we're talking about before Christ. There's what is it called, historical evidence that this was something that was practiced before that, and there's also clear evidence that it was practiced even after Christ's death and birth at the same time. So the Celts or the pagans, they believe that on October 31st, right, all the way to November 1st, there was a blur in the atmosphere. There was a blur in the atmosphere where the spirits or ghosts or people that had passed away or just spirits in general were able to have contact with the living. And you know, when we think of pagans, most of the time we tie it down to Wicca, we tie it down to witchcraft, we tie it down to goddesses like Thor, things like that. And that's honestly where that comes from, those ideas. But we have to be aware where these traditions come from. That's why I'm going all the way back, because there's a lot of things that we do that involve those practices. For example, because they believe that this ghost or that the spirits would be able to get through to the living world, what the Celts would do is they would dress themselves in animal skin so that the ghost or the spirits that were in the air were not able to recognize them or see them and know that they were humans. I'm not sure if because they were afraid that somebody's getting revenge or they're going to get attacked or possessed. I'm not sure, but it was a practice that they had. And also to lure the spirits away, they would have lights or lanterns that they would turn on. And that's where the idea of jack-lanterns came from, right? It slowly evolved throughout time. And then the other thing that they did was individuals that had the capability of communicating with those spirits, they would go and knock door to door and ask for a pastry in return so that they could communicate with the living, or with the deceased or with the spirits, to try to like kind of herd them away. So that was October 1st on their calendar, the Celts calendar, all the way to November 1st. That's when it was practiced, and it was called I can't pronounce it. Sawa. I gotta look it up.
But hey, guys, the whole point of Carlos going through some history is because we notice that there's a lot of YouTubers. We notice that there's a lot of TikTokers, a lot of influencers that are just grabbing certain facts, but they're not asking the right questions. And most likely it's just Chat GPT, or they just grabbed it out of Wikipedia. What is the definition of Halloween? But the problem with that is you're not going to get the full content. You're only going to get a part of it, and then you really have to go deeper than that. You have to get content of all sources to really come to a conclusion of why you believe on what you believe, why you stand and what you stand.
Okay, so I have the pronunciation right here. It's spelled Samhain. That's what this day was called for the Celts. Okay.
So basically before
Samhain.
Samhain.
I'm Samhain. I didn't get that, bro.
So what you're saying, Carlos, is before even the terminology Halloween, there was already a practice during those days.
Exactly.
By two different parties.
Well, it was by the Celts. Samhain is the day of October 31st all the way to November 1st. But this was already a practice that was created by the Celts to celebrate the spirit, or a blurred line where the spirits could communicate with the living.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, and then finally, we learned that there was a pope, right?
Correct. There was a couple popes. One was in 600.
Somewhere in 600.
Somewhere in 600. In the year 600, Boniface, I think his name was. He started, I guess, bringing up the idea of
acknowledging
individuals that were that believed in Christ and had passed away.
Okay, just watch this. Like, just think about this. This pope was like, all right, we gotta find a day for the people that have died believing in something, and this was believing in Christ. Let's just pause for a minute right there. Just that's a pope acknowledging that there were Christians that die for Christ, believing in Christ, standing for something.
Right.
That's already like, wow, Now, was it on that day though?
So no, originally it was on May 13.
Okay, pause right there.
Oh.
It was on May 13. It wasn't on November or October. It was on a May. Now, that's really cool for this Pope to really just acknowledge that, right? Like, and back then, there was only one church. Back then, it was just, which is a little confusing, right? But I'm not gonna get into those details because then it was open up can of worms right there. But back then, it was just one body of Christianity. There wasn't like a division between Catholic and Christianity, at least in history, right? That's what it says. That's what it shows. So back then, there was a day that was acknowledged for the Christian that have died. Now, you gotta ask the right question. Why would they come up with a day, or why would they start acknowledging a day for that?
Okay, just to clarify, Hallows Eve and Hallows Day, it was not celebrated on May 13, but Pope Boniface, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, the fourth, he had various dates in which they would celebrate martyrs, right? Martyrs. So martyrs, like you were discussing, were Christians or individuals that believed in Christ and were dying because they were being persecuted by Julius Caesar and by the Roman Empire, and just eliminating a lot of them. And because of that, the Catholic Church, or in this case the popes, they wanted to honor these individuals and acknowledge that they were martyrs. And it wasn't until Pope Gregory the Third and Pope Gregory the Fourth that they moved the date to October 31st and November 1st.
By the way, back then the Romans were really eliminating, unaliving a lot of Christian believers back then, and that is the reason why this Pope, what was his name again?
Which one?
The first one that we talked about, mentioned Boniface.
Yeah,
Boniface. That's the reason why he wanted to acknowledge all these Jesus believers,
right?
You know. And then, interesting enough, in history, this is just a side note. Interesting enough, Roman noticed that, man, these people just don't go away.
Stubborn.
So then, you know, Roman, what they did is like, well, if you can go against the enemy, let's unite them. And by the way, that's where the split happened. By the way, this is just a little side note between the Catholic and the Protestant Christian believer,
right?
This is just a side note. But anyways, now there was two popes. There was two popes after that, and my understanding is Pope Gregory,
right?
The third, and the fourth. Yep. So what happened? What happened back then? Well, they moved the date.
Yeah. So according to what we see in history, the Roman Church, right? Remember, Romans were the ones that were in that time were pretty much conquering everything. There's a lot of influence by Caesar and just a lot of Roman ideologies, but they wanted to please not only the church but individuals that the Roman Empire had control of, which were a lot of pagans. So Pope Gregory the Third, he assigned a day called All Saints Day, and he declared All Saints Day November the 1st. And this is what I was mentioning initially. Now, this was correlating into the pagan celebration, if you want to call it a celebration or tradition, Sawa. On Sawa, I already forgot how to.
So let's keep something in mind. With Pope Gregory, the third and the fourth, the church was not split yet. It was still one.
Correct.
Okay, no, so then what that means is these Pope, you know how you do something in good intention and then it comes out bad?
Right.
That's what happened with these popes. They had a good intention, so they were like, you know what? Let's instead of making it on, was it July?
It was, well, there was celebrations on like May 13th or May 13th, but
May.
yeah, they made
Okay, it was on May.
November 1st.
So instead of having it on May, they moved it
Mm-hmm.
to October the 31st to November to try to compensate the evilness, right? So they had a good intention, right? And then also in history, it says that, you know, there were so many deaths back then from Christian believers that they wanted to pick a day to celebrate. And but these popes, Gregory the Third and the Fourth, they wanted to compensate that, so they moved it on a pagan day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Right.
far so good. Okay. And let's continue.
Yeah, so then Pope Gregory the Fourth, he created what we now know Hallows Eve and Hallows Day. Hallows Eve would be October 31st, and Hallows Day would be November 1st, right? It's almost like saying Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but
what happened? What happened during those time? Like what do you do on the 31st and then all the way to November? Like, what was the practice?
So if we're keeping away from the pagan practices, right? Because we already discussed that they would wear skins of animals to hide their identity, and you know they'll knock and ask for
all the evil,
all that
horrible,
stuff.
superstitious stuff.
So the Roman Catholic tradition was you would pretty much pray and fast, you know, on Hallows Eve, and all the way to Hallows Day, to honor those saints, those individuals that had died as martyrs, as Christians, as believers of Christ. Because a lot, like you mentioned, a lot were persecuted and eliminated by the Roman Empire. So the Catholic Church was like, hey, we need to honor these individuals because it's something brave that they did and courageous. It's something, honestly, the idea is amazing. The idea is beautiful. The problem is that's not what Hallows Eve or Hallows Day is if we fast forward it today.
Yeah, so let's just kind of go back.
Okay.
Pope Gregory had a good intention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just go back. He had a good intention by moving it on those days, pagan days. Now, why do we say Pagan's Day? Well, the problem is that our nature is evil. Our nature is to do bad things. That's our nature, especially if you don't know Christ. If you don't know Christ, our nature is always whatever the flesh. So, unfortunately, you know, our world is not this one, but it's the one in heaven, right? But that doesn't mean we drop the ball. That doesn't mean we don't have a job to do here on earth. So we need to speak the truth of what's really happening right now. So there was a good intention. Again, there was a good intention with these popes. I'm moving it on those days.
Yeah. Yeah, they were trying to please individuals that had already celebrated, you know, paganism and Samhain. That word is going to kill me this whole entire podcast. But, you know, they were celebrating that still, and to incorporate and almost in a way, to be honest, force a tradition, a new tradition, into what was already an old tradition. The Roman Church was like, hey, why don't we just celebrate this on this specific days?
So let's use this as an example. Let's think of Veterans Day.
Okay.
Right? On Veterans Day, what does, you know, what's happening right now on Veterans Day? Like when we celebrate Veterans Day, it's supposed to be a memorial day of the fallen ones, right? In the United States.
To honor the fallen heroes.
But let's ask the real question. What's really happening on that day?
People are just barbecuing.
They're partying.
Maybe fireworks here and there, partying, yeah.
Right? They're partying. Now it's because Daniel, you're taking it out of context. And you know, like, no, think about it. These are fallen people that have died for us to have freedom. So if we're really celebrating it's not like that. And not only that, but it became such a market day to the point where it's like, oh, Veterans Day means discounts. Veterans Day means I'm gonna get a free day where I can do whatever I want, finish my project, but there's no true acknowledgement of what that day means. So now let's go back to Hallows Day. Same scenario. You know, decades later, something happens. So let's elaborate a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I mean, now, you know, we look at modern day America or even around the world. I'm not even sure. The Irish were the ones that came up with this, right? When we look at paganism, when we look at pagans, that goes all the way back to that area of the world. But we look at what we practice as Halloween. Where is those prayers? Where is those acknowledgement for those individuals that died as martyrs for representing a belief of Christianity, right? Christianity in the sense of believing in Christ or believing in Jesus Christ. Now what we do is more of a pagan Samian, I'm gonna mess that up, but a South practice, which is dressing up in animal clothing, putting the lanterns on, which is the jack-lanterns. That's what it is. It's an evolution, right? And going door to door and asking for candy instead of this, you know, back in the day it was pastries. And, you know, give me a pastry and I will bless or speak to the spirits to go away or to not come here or communicate with them or whatever it was, some sort of reward. But where is the practice of Halloween and Hallows Eve and Hallows Day, which is Saints Day? Where's that at?
Exactly. So somewhere along our ancestors, something happened. Something adulterated, you know, the whole intention of that day. And I believe simply it's just, you know, where our nature is always whatever our flesh wants. So we started introducing all these paganism practices, and now we're subconsciously, a lot of people are practicing witchcraft.
Yeah, they're practicing things that were from the South, what they did to hoard off the spirits.
But you know what's so interesting, man? There's a lot of people like, you know, I'm not a Christian, I don't believe in anything, but yet they do practices.
Yeah.
You know, they practice Halloween because it's a fun day. It's a beautiful day, you know? Now, let's be honest. On that day, what do people wear on those days? I mean, some of them wear cartoon characters or whatever, but they're not all cartoon characters. Some of them are different characters. Some of them are witches, skeleton, death, prostitute-like. It's like a free day to act and be something that you're not, or you're witch-like. I don't know. It's kind of scary, man. Like, come on, think about that for just a minute.
It's almost like there's an idolization of that specific individual for that day that you're trying to accommodate. That's in your heart, or maybe, you know, that's trending. Maybe.
So what's happening with our kids? They're normalizing that. Like, oh, you get to be a little witch. Mm-hmm. Oh, you get to be death or a killer. Like, I remember seeing a house. They had skeletons, and then they had like a dead body. They were carrying it. Like, just think about that for a minute. What are we promoting with that? We're promoting death. We're normalizing certain things that it's okay. It's normal. Think about that. You know, it's just looking at that supposedly dead body. This skeleton is carrying a dead body. I'm just like thinking like, oh, okay, well, you know, I guess killing people. Oh, I just said it. Oops. You know, unaliving people. That's normal. No. Come on, think about that. Oh, I guess carrying a dead body, it's normal. I don't know. Just how do kids process that? If I'm a kid and I see that, oh, okay, that's normal, right?
Now, I mean, the counter argument would be like, okay, well, we're not doing any of that. We're just dressing up with fun characters and just having fun with the family. Are we not allowed to do that? I mean, in my opinion, yeah, you can do that. But the issue is the day and the moment and what is backed up behind that, right? I guess that's
yeah. I mean, if you do have that argument that okay, we can do whatever we want. You can do what, yeah, you can do whatever we want. And every action has a reaction. Every action has a consequence. Anything that you sow, you will reap at one point. So what are we promoting? What are we promoting? What are we normalizing to our generation at this point?
So for all you non-Christians or Christian believers, whatever it is that you're believing, my question to you is, did you even know what Halloween was prior to this conversation? And that's the root of our foundation, right? Understanding what we believe, what we practice, why we let it into our home, why we make it into the norm. Is understanding that means that we are placing ourselves in a position and our family in a position of getting involved in something, right? In something, whether you're a Christian or a non-Christian. But right now, we're going to switch it up to a Christian mentality, right? Because even if you weren't a Christian and you celebrate Halloween, did you know that you were celebrating something that's rooted in the Roman Catholic belief? So it's
like let's just hold on. Let's freeze for a little bit here on this topic. Look, if you're not a believer, just think about it for a minute, man. Like, you need to be rooted in something. You have to have some kind of foundation of something, of why you do what you do.
Yeah.
You can't just flow just because, somebody jumps off a bridge or a building. Well, I guess I'm gonna do it. I'm sure you're not gonna do it.
Right.
So why? Because gravity, and then it would unalive me, right? So
it's not a smart idea.
So you have to have some kind of foundation. So you need to be rooted in something. You can't just do you believe in life? Mm-hmm. Or do you just believe in death? Now, I know they both go together. Don't get so technical on me. You're the guy that speaks life, or are you the guy that speaks death? Are you the guy that believes in
truth or life?
Let me put in a politic world. I know it's a little bit out there, but are you conservative or you're liberal?
Yeah.
What did you believe?
Yeah.
Where are you founded?
Where do you stand on?
What do you stand on for you to do what you do?
Right.
So if you practice Halloween, why? Oh, it's just a fun day that we do stuff and oh my gosh, bro! Like,
yeah, there has to be a reason as to why. I would assume.
Look, if you feel offended in what we're talking, if you feel very offended, come up with your foundations of why you get offended and why you believe what you believe. Let's challenge people. Come on, don't just go with the flow. Don't be a slave of whatever happens in the world and you just do. Eventually something is going to confront you in life, where life and death is in your face, and then you got a question, what do you believe on? Do you believe on saving people, or do you believe on not saving people? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Don't be a zombie. Don't just follow the trend. At least understand the trend, at least understand the roots of it, and that's what we're talking for in any type of belief. Now, switching it up, because this relates to anybody that has any form of belief, even if it's a scientific belief. And if it is a scientific belief, I only believe in science. Okay, where's the science behind the beliefs of what All Saints Day was, and then going back to paganism. So my question is, as Christians, right? Because I want to narrow it down more in our foundation and in our beliefs.
Right, now we're talking directly to the Christians.
Right. As Christians, as followers of Christ, because that's what the terminology of a Christian means in Greek and in Latin. And you know what's funny? A lot of people are like, well, I'm not a Christian. I don't like calling myself a Christian. I'm a believer. Or they say it's just a way of life. I don't like saying that I'm a Christian. Well, the Oxford Dictionary and the Merriam Dictionary, they all describe it as Christianity, or the terminology of being a Christian, as relating or professing Christianity, right? Or professing Christianity teachings, which means that it's a claim of quality and feelings of the same affirmation and allegiance of what Christ believed in, right? So if you are somebody that believes in Jesus Christ, your term technically is a Christian. That's the technicality.
Now, Christian, did you follow Jesus, his footsteps, as much as you can until the day you unalive?
Yeah.
Now let's ask. I think you have some clips, right?
Yes.
So before you go there,
yeah,
let's just answer some questions, right? So, for example, if Jesus was walking with us, right now, and there was, because back in Jesus' times there was no Halloween, or at least the terminology wasn't there. Now, what do we know about Jesus in his character? This is what we know. Jesus never ran from darkness, but he never entertained either. So what does that mean? Okay, so what that means is, I know you're going to quote this maybe later on. There's a whole reason why we want to emphasize this part right here, is before we show the clip, so you understand where we're coming from with this. So Jesus would never run away from darkness, but he never entertained it either. So we're not entertaining. Now, that's why we cannot look like the world. We can be among the world, but we cannot be like the world. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. But anyways, John 1:5.
Mm-hmm.
John 1:5 says, the light shines in the darkness, and then the darkness has not overcome it. That's what it says. The light shines in the darkness. So our job is not to be like the dark. Because people take it out of content, like, oh, in order to shine the light, we have to be exactly like them. No, dude. Like, what that means is you got to balance that out. Number one, what that means is, hey, you can be in there, but make sure that you are shining the truth. You're standing in the truth. You can be among there, because that's what it means. Jesus would never run away from darkness.
No, and I think a lot of times he would challenge individuals that created traditions out of things that were unrelated to what the word said.
By the way, light and darkness cannot be mixed.
Right.
So you can't play with fire like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna get burned at one point.
Yeah, Jesus said we are the light, not the lanterns. I'm just saying, just correlating it with the whole pagan thing. Anyways, but no. Yeah, like, what would Jesus say? What would Jesus think about these traditions, right? Because remember, there were traditions that were fresh, like like I was talking about, that it started in 2,000 years ago, or like during the Iron Age. Okay, so it wasn't something that was new. Paganism was a thing. In fact, when David was alive, there was witchcraft.
Yeah.
It's something that's dated back in like forever, and the Bible warns about us.
Well, let's just make it easier for the younger Christians. Like, think of Moses when they were in the desert, and then Moses went up in the mountain, and then when he came down,
oh, that's good.
Right, when he came down, he noticed that a lot of them were practicing Egyptian witchcraft or idolatry. Idolatry, I meant to say. So then it makes you think. Look at the reaction of Moses. It was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, don't fall into that trap to accustom things that actually brings death into not just you, but your generation.
And would you consider that being religious? Like, okay, in our time, if somebody's like, oh man, I have to question everything.
I think religious would be staying away, isolating yourself.
Okay.
I think that's being religious. Like when you isolate yourself, be like, oh, I'd rather just not. I'm not gonna get involved. I'm just gonna hide my cave.
Versus understanding.
No, that's not Jesus. Jesus will be among them.
Right.
And now, even though he knew the truth, he didn't approach them chopping heads off. He approached it by being the light. I don't know if that makes sense.
Right. Outshining the ideas, outshining the beliefs that people had in that time, and challenging them. Like, hey guys, have you ever thought of this and that? And I think that's the example that he set forth for us to do. Like, hey, when you're confronted with an idea that's not something that kind of like maybe it's rubbing you the wrong way, maybe it's not something, why don't you find the biggest term that the Bible always tries to push us to do, which is the truth? Yeah,
for example, I wrote in my notes, I'm going to read them out. If a celebration centers on fear, death, witchcraft, or a demonic, Jesus would call us to separate it from it, not join it. Right? So, okay, think about this. If we're Christians, our target is Jesus. Anything that takes us away from the target of Jesus, we gotta come back to the target of Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's not the target of Jesus. That's not focusing on Jesus.
Yeah, no. And that's the whole point that we're trying to make right here when we're talking about Halloween and Hallows and Samian and all this stuff, is to understand where it comes from. Is it where it came from, where was it created, what are the roots, and is it gonna pull me away from Jesus? Is it something that goes against the Bible? Is it something that I should not align with? And that's where the question of whether we should or whether we shouldn't celebrate what is known as Halloween. So I want to show you a couple videos.
Yeah, let's show them. I'm ready for right after the video. I'm ready for this, bro.
Okay, so so these are popular, very very popular Christian, I guess influencers.
They're Christian weird. Influencers now. I'm trying to be wise.
Be wise, bro.
I'm trying to be wise.
Be wise.
Because they're very knowledgeable people, and they can probably like
destroy us with the word.
Yeah, just destroy us because they're very knowledgeable.
Right.
But every now and then it's okay to listen to the donkey, right?
Right.
So if
like Baal,
if a donkey can minister according to the word, then I made it. And I have big ears, by the way. But anyways, so I made it. So if I guess I'm trying to find a way to minister, I guess.
Yeah.
If I could reach out to them, but they're very popular, they're very famous. Like even sending a message to them would be like super difficult.
Yeah, and we're not. I mean, I don't think we're gonna create hate or anything towards them, right? We're analyzing what somebody's saying, and we're breaking it down and we're sharing it with you guys. But I will say this: it's not the way you speak, it's not the way you walk, the way you talk, your platform or your representation. It's none of that. It's none of that. You could be the biggest pastor, the most popular individual in social media. In this case, this individuals we're gonna see. But what Matthew teaches us in Matthew 7 is the fruits. What is the fruits that's coming out of that? Now, it doesn't mean that people are not going to say things that don't align.
Which we're going to talk about right after the video because you're almost getting there, bro.
Oh, okay. All
right. But like, hold on. Disclaimer. Okay. Look, we're not trying to cause hate.
No, we're not.
We're actually trying to make all of us think a little bit further. We're just trying to make everybody think a little bit further, and not just like you can't just take my word or take their word. You have to do your own research, and not only doing your own research, but you have to really be sensitive to the spirit. Is this something? Okay, I'm not gonna go there. I'm about to jump the gun right now.
Let's watch the first video. Yeah. This is gonna be from Bryce Crawford. This guy, I love this guy.
Which, by the way, we love him. We follow him.
Yeah.
And but we just like he can call us out on something that is not right. We're gonna call him out right now.
But it's just conversation.
We're gonna call him out in love as much as possible.
Well, let's watch this in love. Here we go.
Let's just define Halloween. Some people say, well, Halloween is from pagan origins. Some people say Halloween is a Christian holiday. Some people say neither. I mean, where does Halloween come from?
The name Halloween is basically like an old English rendering of Hallows Eve, which is the old English rendering of the name for Saints Day. Most people listen here are probably Protestant. I'm a Protestant, but Catholics celebrate something called All Saints Day, which is a holiday that goes back to the 700s that was started on November 1st to celebrate Christian martyrs and Christians who had passed away. And the Christians would feast.
Okay, see how he said it very lightly? Oh, look, yeah, it's just basically, hold on, you can't take stuff. You cannot take this stuff, basically. All right?
Yeah.
Because it's
he's not,
affecting
and honestly, he's not saying anything wrong in the sense of it's true. With the
it's
exception
true,
about the
but there's a lot of
yeah
content missing there.
Well,
Like, think about it. He's just, well, the Catholic, and he separated that. Hold on, wait. We just talked about it. We just talked about it. That on that particular day. We just talked about it. That particular day.
hey,
Okay.
that.
Oh,
Man.
snaps. Oh.
Sorry, that
Anyways.
was technicality.
Okay, like, hold on. In that particular day, let's remind ourselves. We just talked about it. In that particular day, it was a very pagan day that was moved by the Pope, by the Catholic Church, to try to compensate that.
Right.
And then in the long run, they started implementing all this pagan stuff, like wearing costume. Buddy, right now you're wearing custom. I'm already like, bro, what are you doing right now?
Right.
Anyways.
Well, I think the issue that I have in this video, sorry guys, that was me. I hit the wrong. I want everything switched. I apologize for that. But the issue that I have,
some people say, well,
is
Halloween is from pagan origin.
that part. It's not that some people say that it's from pagan origins. It's like saying, hey, did you know that the baker was the Catholic Church that created the cake? Okay, but where did the flour come from? You know, like there's traces of flour in there. There's traces of eggs.
You gotta get the whole content before you start, affirming something, saying, yeah, it was a pagan day. It still is.
Yeah,
and the practices are still pagan.
Yeah, like my brother was saying, like he's dressed up. That's not something that Halloween or Hallows Eve or Saints Day. That's not a practice from Hallows Eve or Hallows Day.
Yeah, Hallows Day, they did not dress up. They actually fasted. They prayed their living guts for all the families members that had died for Christ. That's crazy. Anyways,
I think that out of the now. Like I said, it's not that I have something, we don't have anything against Bryce or anything.
It's just a little boo-boo that we disagree.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a boo-boo. It's just clarification. And because, one of the things that we have to be careful with is when we say stuff and we have people that see and view us, we have to clarify like, hey, I know that this has this and this and that, but this is what I choose to believe. That's separate, right? Than saying, oh, like totally completely throwing away the fact that it comes from pagan origins. No, bro. The practices of putting out a costume, we're talking about October 31st to November 1st. This is Halloween.
It's like Moses coming down and be like, we're the child of God. We're the chosen ones, but we're gonna worship this calf, bro. What?
Yeah. Or when he came down and he was bright and they were like, oh, and they started worshiping him. And he's like, whoa, hold on. Like, you're worshiping the wrong person. It's the same thing. We have to be careful.
Think about it. The people, like, if I'm a Satanist or a saint or a Satan worshiper. I meant to say
don't be a Satan.
A Satan worshiper. If I was a Satan worshiper and I see this,
yeah,
I'll be like, oh, he's just like one of us.
Yeah,
bro, come on, bro. That's not shining the light, bro.
That doesn't make you the light, and that doesn't. Also, it doesn't make you the salt, right? The Bible says for us to be the salt of the earth. What does salt do?
The salt is like very contrast, right? Like it's like me, like I'm dressed up, everybody's dressed up, and then I see you not dressed up. I'll be like, Why are you not dressed up? There you go. That's the light. That's the salt. It is different.
Right.
Something is different.
What I was going with the salt is that the salt preserves, right? It's preserving
The truth.
The truth. And
Yeah.
And we have to understand that, because sometimes instead of revealing the truth, we try to justify something and hide the truth so that we can be okay with it, you know. But overall, God is going to test our knowledge and what we know and what's in our heart.
Let's do the other video, and I'm gonna throw a fact right now.
Okay, so this is another very, very popular guy that could destroy us biblically. But remember, it's not how much you know. It's what you what you are practicing and what you keep in your heart, right? That's what you're gonna be judged upon.
This can be very misleading.
Yeah.
So we don't want to mislead. If I'm talking to just Christians, all right, we don't want to mislead the ones that don't know Christ. Anyways.
Yeah. Okay, let me put it back a little bit because I accidentally moved it there.
But are Christians allowed to celebrate Halloween?
Yes. Well,
No, just kidding.
Yes, but bro, you're either cold or you're hot, bro. Come on,
You
bro.
can't be lukewarm. You can't be middle.
Just look. Don't try to. Never mind. Go. All
right, let's go.
okay. It depends. It depends. Because
It depends.
okay, so a lot of people don't get Halloween correct, right? It does have paganistic roots, but it's
Okay, I just want to say this real quick. Bryce said they believe they have pagan origins, and he said, "Oh wait, it does have roots of paganism." Okay.
Okay. So you're acknowledging that there's witchcraft here. Anyways, all right, let's go.
actually during like the Celtic era, there was saints that would actually counterbalance this. How do I say? It's like they would celebrate the pagans would celebrate it as like a day where spirits roam the earth, basically, like dead spirits, right? And to counterbalance that, there was All Saints Day and All Hallows Eve. So All Hallows Eve is
Okay, I just want to say this. He's right, but he's also wrong. Why? Because paganism and the Celts were before the Roman Church.
It was way before.
Yeah.
And then remember I said that the Pope Gregory,
Yeah.
they try to do something good by compensating that. Like, oh, you know what? This is a very bad practice. You know what? Let's bring the good stuff, right? So let's make this the official day, which was Gregory the third and the fourth.
Yeah, and it wasn't to counteract the spirits. It wasn't for that. That wasn't the original intent. The intent was what you mentioned, which was like, hey, these are martyrs. These are individuals that died as Christians. Let's honor them on this day. It was not to be like, oh, we're gonna pray for this day to counter the spirits that are out and about.
So
You know, that's something that started getting practiced because paganism was a thing when the Roman Church started.
right. Go.
Oh,
is actually Halloween. And then the next day is All Saints Day, which is my birthday, by the way. I'm a saint.
Wait.
Just
Did he
kidding.
say
But
one day is Halloween and the other one is Saints Day?
yeah. Because Halloween, which is Hallows Day, is actually November 1st.
Okay.
Remember, that's the belief. That's the tradition that was brought by the popes.
basically, that's what they would do. And so if you really look back at the roots, it was made to like counterbalance Halloween, right? But obviously over time, Halloween
Counter.
I'll be honest. It was made to indoctrinate the pagans into becoming.
Just think about this. The enemy has been around for over 2,000 years or more,
Yeah.
and
More than
like he
2,000.
knew this was gonna happen. So he's like, I'm gonna stir this up to the point where everybody's gonna get confused.
Oh.
And and so then yeah. So now you got I'm gonna say Satan was so crafty and creative that he was able to mix those two things to
Yeah.
to our generation now, to the point where it's like, oh, it's normalized. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, you want to dress as a witch? It's okay, Christian believer. That really conflicts. That conflicts.
Yeah, because I mean, it's
And then they're gonna call us religious. Look, like honestly, I'm probably the least religious person that you ever meet. I get so much in trouble
yeah, he does
with the real religious people, bro.
with everybody.
But the problem is that now the truth, they're making it religious. Come on, bro.
Right. And it's not, I mean, practicing and believing in something, you know, if you believe in something, right, it's because you are putting it in your heart. Like if you're practicing something, it's in your heart.
It's in your heart.
Yeah, it's something that you maybe you want.
And then you want it, you like, you want it to be part of your life. Let's be more realistic, more honest.
Yeah, and you know the reason why, and like I said, it's not that I'm going after Johnny Shang or Bryce. I'm not doing that, but I get wary, and this is what I was talking to my brother. This is why I was like, bro, we need to make a podcast today because it's Halloween. We have to. There has to be a light that shines that says this is what Halloween is. You know, and we're not just gonna accommodate and we're not just gonna do what people tell us to do because that's what they tell us to do. You know, we have to be that light. And I was like, bro, we need to do this. Why? Because Proverbs 6, 16 through 19, it teaches us that there is things that the Lord hates, right? And two of those things that it mentions is a lying tongue, right? Because it's deceiving. When you lie, you're deceiving. You're not saying the truth. And the other one was a false witness who speaks lies. Same concept, right? The only difference is it's somebody, a false witness is somebody that would consider themselves a believer and is swaying the truth to accommodate an idea, to accommodate, in this case, a belief.
Correct. Is the video almost over?
No, do you want to keep listening to it? We can.
Oh, no, I mean, was that it?
Well, no, there's still more, but
Is actually Halloween. And then the next day is All Saints Day, which is my birthday, by the way. I'm a saint. Just kidding. But basically, that's what they would do. And so if you really look back at the roots, it was made to like counterbalance Halloween, right? But obviously, over time, Halloween had become kind of almost like chasing witchcraft and, you know, celebrating fear and celebrating demonic things.
By the way, counterbalance is the wrong word.
yeah.
Counterbalance is the wrong word. I would not use evil and good. It's not a balance.
No.
You don't put that both together to balance it out. What the heck?
Yeah, you're not gonna do a little bit of bad and a little bit of good,
And
so
you're
you
good.
can be neutral. It doesn't make sense.
No, but I will tell you this. I guess we could stop the video from there because, I mean, he said enough to just understand.
Yeah.
So going back to Jesus, what would Jesus say? Are you seeking to glorify God or fitting into the culture?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the problem that we have with our, you know, influencers, younger influencers. They're trying to fit in. Some of them, they're trying to fit into the culture, and you know, that's gonna be hard. That's gonna be hard because we are Jesus culture.
Yeah.
We're not the world culture. We're it's okay what Paul said. Hey, you know, I was like them, but I wasn't. But the problem is that to what point are you actually pushing the line?
Yeah.
And misleading people, right? And then the next question is, what would Jesus say, right? It would be, is your participation leading others closer to me, Jesus,
Oh, that's good.
or further away?
Yeah.
You know, and think about it. Like, you know, it's a small portion of the religious people that they're not gonna like what we're talking about. Bro, you're misleading them too.
Yeah. And
And I'm not a religious person. Like, think about that part. I'm not. But imagine the religious people, bro. I'm sure you're getting bashed right now. I'm sure you're getting all kinds of comments from like religious people. And you know what? Every now and then it's a good idea to listen.
yeah.
Maybe listen where they're coming from. If they have weight, they have support. Hey, there's nothing wrong with listening. Same thing here with us. If you have weight and you have support, we're willing to listen. Where are you coming from? Because maybe, you know, we might get something good out of it.
Yeah, and it's not about condemning people, or even, I mean, there is this form of judging. Like the Bible does say to judge in a discerning way.
It does say, it says, and you shall know them by their fruits.
Right.
That's
a
the
judgment.
way that you can judge.
Right.
You
right.
know?
But it's not condemning.
We're not condemning them to
people
hell.
that
They're not
practice.
going to hell because of that. I hope not. You know, I don't. They're not going to hell. But
Well,
it can mislead.
we can't say that,
But it can mislead people into hell. So hey,
Right.
we're gonna be held accountable for that.
and that part is what's important, you know, because
Yes.
I look at 1 Peter chapter 2, and it talks about getting rid of all the things that are malice, all the things that are deceitful, all of things that are hypocrisy, you know, envy, and all evil speaking, right? All that correlates to that, right? Deceit,
Right.
evil speaking, lying. And then it says later on, I think it's in, I wrote it down somewhere in my notes, chapter 7 or verse 7 in chapter 2 of 1 Peter, to not be a rock, that those individuals will stumble on the rock, which is Jesus, and the visual representation of this, right? So here's an individual that believes in this belief, right? Whatever it is. In this case, obviously we're throwing Halloween, right? But we're like, oh yeah, like you can dress, you can do all this, and you can knock trick or treat, and put the candle lights on the lanterns outside, and you know, and it's all good and dandy, right? But are you following Christ your way, or are you following Christ in the trending way? Because the Bible says in 1 Peter chapter 2 that those individuals that try to make their own path to God will stumble on the rock, which is Jesus.
Yeah. So look, again, we're not condemning. The whole point of this is because we love the lost.
Yeah.
We love the people that are lost. You know, so why are we emphasizing these things? Because we love the lost. We don't want them to go to hell,
Yeah.
because you're giving a message.
Yeah.
With
you're misleading.
whatever exposes on the outside, it's in the heart. So you're giving a message, right? Now, I really wanted to say this. Children are the most vulnerable. Children are innocent, and naturally they'll believe whatever. So I just want to say Matthew 18:6. I wrote it down. Whoever causes one of these little ones
Yeah.
who believe in me to sin, it will be better for him to have a milestone fastened around his neck. Bro, come on, man.
You stole the other one that I was gonna, because it kind of correlates to the first Peter chapter.
But think
2.
about it. We're talking about our next generation, right? We're talking about the people that are lost. We're talking about now children. You can look at it as the lost one, right? That they don't know Christ, and they're
Yeah.
gonna be like little children, right?
Yeah,
Or
true.
you can look at it also the same way to children, physical children.
Yeah.
They're vulnerable. Come on, man. What message are we giving them when you're wearing a witch, a skeleton, you know, a dead body dragging around, and a sword, and all these things?
Yeah, not even like the imagery of it, but also the conforming of it, right? Like, oh, that's normal. That's normal to do. It's normal to practice this. It's all normal to see that. It's not something that has roots in.
You know how it sounds, trick or treat? It sounds like Muslims.
Wait, what do you mean?
Think about it.
Definitely elaborate on that.
Yeah, it sounds like Muslims. Like when they come up to you, you either accept Muhammad or Quran or the sword. Trick or treat. I'm not. I just feel like,
It's like,
you know, like think about it. Jesus comes with loves. He gives you the option. Hey, you either choose me or you choose you.
yeah, it's not a
You know,
this
he
or that.
comes in a loving way, not in a tricky way, not
Right.
in like I'm gonna like unalive you, right? No,
Mhm.
Jesus is love, right? So, we're not cursing the darkness. We're trying to shine the light in the darkness. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, because the Bible says I wrote this scripture down in Romans 14:23 that whatever does not proceed from faith is sin, right? So what is faith? Faith it's our belief. It's something that we hold strong and that we value above all things. So it's like, okay, so is this thing that, is it coming from my faith? Is it coming from my belief? And if it's not, well, the Bible says that it could be sin, right? That's what it's saying right there in Romans 14:23.
Think about it. On that day, it's all about fear, scary movies.
Yeah.
It's all about
God is not fear.
Ooh, right?
Well,
And like, think about it. 2 Timothy 1, chapter 1 and verse 7, it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and sound mind." So us Christian, it's an opportunity to actually show love. It's an opportunity for us to not represent fear, but represent the light of hope.
Yeah.
So think about it. It sounds so innocent, but it's just totally the opposite. It's totally the opposite. So I'm calling out those Christians. I'm sorry. Let me do it, Carlos. I'm calling out those Christians.
I think we both are.
I'm calling out those Christians. Do not celebrate Halloween.
Yeah.
It's already adulterated. You don't want to do something that is confusing. God is not confusing. Jesus is not confusing.
No, but wait, Daniel. Wait. But it was to honor the saints, or
you can honor it any other day, bro. All right? And you don't have to wear a custom, bro.
See, the problem is that here's a clean cloth. Here's a clean cloth, right? And this cloth, in this case, represents purity, right? It's beautiful. It's nice, right? And you have it placed in this location where you're keeping it nice and clean, because that's the cloth that you use to clean your face, right? But then what happened was, there's this old area, dirty, raggy, nasty, right? And they got that clean cloth, this idea of All Saints, a day to honor the Christian believers that died as martyrs, and they placed it on this dirty, nasty counter, and now you have a dirty rag.
Yeah.
And you just keep wiping. That cloth is
The
not
problem
clean
is
anymore.
that you start allowing certain things and it starts getting dirty.
Yeah.
So what was saint, now it's unholy, if I could say it that way.
Yeah.
Now, I want to finish with this, bro.
Okay.
I'm always like focusing on Jesus, like what would he say, right? Well, so this is what I got. If Jesus was here, right? This is for Christian people. You were not called to hide from the world. You were called to shine within. And now listen, I get it that this is an opportunity to preach the gospel,
Yeah.
but be careful how you're doing it, because that can be misleading, right? So you were called to shine within it, but remember, you cannot shine if you're blend in. Okay, use this day not to glorify fear, but to overcome it in my love. Come on, man. Boom, drop the mic.
Just drop the mic on yourself, bro.
Yeah.
He said that was good.
I mean, that's Jesus talking, not me. That's Jesus talking.
No, and it's true. They're strong words, and it's true. You can't hide the purpose of a light is not to put it underneath or on something that covers it. It's supposed to be exposed.
And you're not supposed to be a dimmed light, by the way.
Yeah, don't be
You're either a full glowing light or you're just dark.
right.
All right? You can't be in between.
Now, I had some things that I wanted to say.
Okay,
before we
go
end.
for it.
Okay, so the warnings on the Old Testament that I have is on Leviticus 18:3-14. Israel was told multiple times, but in this case, they got accustomed to Egyptian and Canaan like beliefs. They started adapting all these practices, and it says you must not do as they do. You must not follow their practices. That's what it's talking about in Leviticus, right? And it's not the only time. We see it throughout the Old Testament. Israel keeps kept and continued to, not Israel, I'm sorry, the Jewish people. They continue to pick up traditions, and they kept neglecting God because of traditions, right? Those are the warnings of the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 12. Deuteronomy. Sorry,
Yeah.
thank you, bro. I keep thinking in
It's okay.
Spanish. God explicitly warns against copying how other nations worship their gods. It says, "You must not worship the Lord." You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things that the Lord hates. So are you doing something that God doesn't like? Think about that. Every time that you do something, think about that. Now, you might be telling me, you know what? That's the Old Testament, Carlos. Why are you bringing out the Old Testament? I'm a New Testament guy. Okay, let's go look at the New Testament. Paul warns about mixing Christian faith with idolatrous practices. For example, in 1 Corinthians 10:20 to 21, it says the sacrifices of pagans are offered to demons, not to God. And I do not want you to participate with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of the demon too. You can't be doing two things, guys. You can't be saying All Saints Day, but let me dress up in the way that the pagans did.
That the problem is that a lot of us Christians, we play around the line all the time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like something that my father used to tell me is like, how far out can you go from the borderline, or how far is the borderline? Like, come on, man, don't dance around it. Don't be in between the fence or straddling the fence. It's rather to just stay away from it.
Right.
That doesn't make you religious, because you love God. Now, staying away doesn't mean isolating yourself. Staying away doesn't mean like I'm gonna hide on that day. No, staying away is, I'm talking about like, hey, don't accustom certain things. There's nothing wrong if you are in between, but remember, your job is to shine. Your job is to be the salt. You want them to see that you're different. You want them to see that you're carrying something special. Right. Not like you're carrying a costume and then somehow you're special. It's a little hard, man. Yeah. It's a little hard.
You can't do both.
You can't do both. You can't serve two masters. You got to choose one.
And then the last one that I had, well, I should have two, but Galatians 4:18 to 10, Paul cautions us against turning back to special days, months, seasons, and years tied to former pagan observations. This sounds very familiar as to the...
That's in Galatians?
Yeah.
Paul said that? Damn, man. That's very specific.
Yeah, very specific. I mean, the last two scriptures that I just gave, it's literally like, it is an answer of whether it's something bad. If your spirit... If you don't feel the Holy Spirit talking to you and telling you, maybe you should look at the scriptures, or maybe you should question that. If there's not a doubt in your heart, okay, then 1 Corinthians 8:7 goes to you. Be careful, however, that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. In other words, the things that you do that maybe are not biblical, they're not in the scripture, right? They're not in the Bible. They're not in the Bible. But it's something that you do, and it doesn't cause you spiritually some form of disturbance or whatever. Be careful that you do not implement that into others that are weak, and that later on fall into this idolatry, fall into this.
By the way, like those influencers that were wearing custom, I'm just in my head, I'm like, well, you wore like a superhero, and the other one was like pretending to be some kind of like...
It was Moses.
Moses, why not? I'm like, why not a witch? Why not like Satan? Why not these other customs? Why those only? Or I don't know, just making you think right there. Just
saying
further.
What he's saying is that they're the same thing. Whatever you dress up at, it's
like
the same
if
thing.
you wear that, then I can wear anything else. I could be sane, be like, yeah, because Satan exists.
Yeah, and that's what 1 Corinthians 8:7 is for. That's the whole entire interpretation of that. Okay, well, you did this, but now what you do is what you go 1 foot and somebody's gonna go a mile.
Yeah, so don't play around the line. Don't just stay away from the line and just be the light. How? If you're among them, be the light. Don't be scared. Hey, don't try to fit in the culture. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't try to fit in, but rather they need to fit in with you. I don't know. Just trying to sound smart right now. But anyways.
So here's my question to you, bro. And I'm gonna give it dry. That way we can end the podcast.
All right.
Should a Christian celebrate Halloween?
The answer is 1, 2, 3. No. I knew that one. Super easy, bro.
I don't.
It's let me just be honest. It's super logical.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Yeah.
No. Even other cultures, like even like Muslims don't celebrate Halloween. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I should probably wear a costume as a Muslim
Yeah.
with the sword. What's the difference, right?
Yeah. No. Like, because they're not easily swayed, you know?
Now, why would you want to wear something that you're not?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to hide who you really are? It's like, oh, I represent Jesus, but let me wear a costume.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and maybe you like costume parties. Okay, that's fine. Whatever, But you know that's not what this day is about. That's not what this day is about.
And then wearing costumes, I hope it has a good purpose and not a bad purpose too.
Okay, yeah, when people that dress all like...
Yeah, hopefully if you wear a costume, it has a good purpose. I'm talking about like maybe you're doing a play or something like that. I get it,
Well, I mean, I see. Okay, so I don't mind if it's a costume party as well, right? Like, I'm not talking about today. I'm talking about any other day. I don't know, March 3rd, whatever. And you're like, oh, let's throw a costume party. Whatever. You want to do that? Whatever. But at the same time, it's like my brother says, what are you dressing up as? Like, a lot of times, like, in Halloween, man, girls be dressing like with purpose of making other people think. And don't tell me you're not,
Yeah, it's the day of the holy.
It's the day of the holy. Holy moly.
Anyways.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and end it right here. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Hard topics, hard talks. I would say we got a little bit deep on it today. If we challenge your belief, if you have something that you want to add or something that you want to question, go ahead and drop it in the comments. But it was a pleasure. It's a blessing to be able to do this. Until then, we're going to see you guys on the next one.
God bless you guys. Take care.